welcome to another session of Humans of HR, where we again are in conversation with Mr. Chan Narayan. And the last two sessions we've spoken about what are the basic ingredients you need to have to build an organization that's able to function effectively. People are able to find their space. And in today's recording, in today's video, we're going to be talking about okay, fine. Let me put this scenario so that all of us are able to relate. Many times, HR or the function is associated with payroll, grievance redressal, and engagement. But I think in the last decade or maybe decade or two, we very clearly have seen the relevance of HR to the business outcomes of the organization. So today we're going to be talking about how do we build high performing teams and what is the role of HR in building that. A very interesting topic. I think any HR professional would love to know because this is what we are valued for at the end of the day. So, welcome again, Chief. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Eagerly looking forward to this conversation.
Great. So, I just set the ground for today's conversation. Um, if I throw this question back at you, um, to build high performing teams, okay, because organizations obviously it's the outcomes um, happen when there are multiple high performing teams and everybody does their job well and goes beyond da da da, and then the organization becomes successful. So while we are talking about the organization, we are also talking about teams. So what do you think could be a possible blueprint to build a high performing team?
So honestly, Harish, I think the question itself is redundant. People come programmed with for working with in high performance teams. I mean, it's inbuilt. There is a software that we've built, which is called culture, and it's a longish answer, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit.
Go
But
for
that
it.
will set the kind of ground for whatever other insights that we can create for helping the listeners uh, be able to build outstanding organizations much beyond where they are right now. So there is this very interesting evolutionary anthropologist, and his name happens to be Dr. Robin Dunbar. And he's done a lot of research in terms of, let me explain what evolutionary anthropologists are. Evolutionary anthropologists look at the human situation or a human group or a tribe or a society, and then they try and speculate what would have happened in our deep past for things to have become what they are right now. So they try and kind of put a hypothesis and test it. One of the key hypotheses or one of the key questions that evolutionary anthropologists had um, was why did human beings of all um, uh, other animals invest in building such a big brain? And to help understand why that's a very important question is that the brain is the most expensive human organ. While
True.
it comprises about 1.5 to 2% of body weight, it consumes about 20% of the body's energy. So it's a very, very high maintenance uh, system, organism within the human body, organ within the human body. So there was a lot of speculation as to what could have triggered this massive investment in building really big brains. And it's a question as important as perhaps bipedalism. Why did human beings, or the hominids in particular, the primates, the great apes, decided or became bipedal instead of being quadrupedal? Why did they stand up on their 2 feet? There are a lot of very interesting theories around. One of the most interesting ones comes from Robin Dunbar, and I find that very useful. There's nothing in life more practical than good theory. So if you start with good theory, you're going to get some really good results as well. So let's figure out what this guy found and what he shared. And I encourage everybody to kind of look up his videos. He has a very British sense of humor, sparkling wit, a choice of words. His research is stunning, and only he can tell it the way that he does. So I encourage you to look up his videos on the internet. But I'll share with you quickly what he shared. He found that human beings invested in building bigger brains because they needed these bigger brains to become socially cohesive, to be able to understand and work with the dynamics of the social group that they are part of. Now, that's even from a traditional anthropological perspectives. If you are a helpless mammal on terra firma, on ground, there are two strategies that you can employ for survival. One is that you become really big, and in the Rift Valley, in Africa, in the savannah, you see some really big animals, megafauna. You see the elephants, you see the giraffes, you see the buffalo, you see the rhinoceros, you see the hippopotamus. Yeah, they're quite big. And individually, they're very difficult to hunt down, even for the big predators, like the lions. The other strategy is to group together. And it looks like that the human beings decided to group together. Now,
Thankfully.
And they needed to coordinate very well with each other. Now, what is interesting is that what his research found was that there is a direct correlation between the size of the neocortex. Neocortex is the new brain, so to say, literally. Human brains are apparently they have three layers: the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and on top of that, the neocortex. The neocortex is what created this huge brain size. Neocortex is the biggest for human beings. So the volume of neocortex to total brain size is a ratio that is indicative of, and it directly correlates with the social group size of the animals. Now, their field research pointed to different neocortex to brain size ratios with different monkeys and primates. For example, vervet monkeys, the chimpanzees, the gorillas. And when they looked at this ratio and they correlated it with the social group size, the normal number of individuals in a social group for that species, they found that and then they extrapolated that, they found that for the human beings, with their brain size and their neocortex size to total brain size ratio, the number correlated to 148. So that was rounded off to about 150. And this is what is today known as the Dunbar limit. What it indicates is that the social group size of human beings can be up to about 150. So they did something very interesting subsequently. What they did was they went and looked at a lot of Aborigine hunter-gatherer societies across the globe. People who were still living as hunter-gatherers, as all of our ancestors would have, a few thousand years back. 12,000 years is estimated to be the agricultural civilization. Prior to that, everybody was a hunter-gatherer. And that was for about, it's estimated about 200,000 to 300,000 years is the length of existence of Homo sapiens, our species. And so they looked at societies that are still hunter-gatherers, and they found something very interesting. They found that a tribe will continue growing till they reach about 150 people. And then, for one reason or the other, violence erupts within that tribe. And the tribe splits into two. And then each of these two clans will independently grow into different tribes till they again reach about 150. And then the same thing repeats. And the reason that they speculated is that the 151st person becomes a stranger. And to a stranger, social norms don't apply. Let me explain this. If you've gone out for lunch or dinner with a friend, it's very easy to pick a place because you know the friend's preference, you know your own preference, and you choose a place which is convenient and makes both of you happy. It becomes a little more tricky when you have to take out your family because there are some conflicting interests at play. It becomes even more difficult when you're kind of um, in a bigger group, let's say 10 people or more. For all those people who have tried running the cafeterias or the hostel canteens or messes, and they know that it's an impossible job. Nobody will be happy. And so you can still figure out the dynamics about a person whom you know. And so your hardware, the brain size, can accommodate all of these preferences for about 150 people. The 151st person, you will struggle to kind of
Count for.
account for or to take into consideration because you don't know them. So it's a kind of a hardware limitation, so to say. The second point about this is okay. So they did some other research. It's very interesting. They looked at the Norman invasion of England around 1000 AD. So there's this guy who led the Normans onto England, and he conquered it. He's known as William the Conqueror. And so interestingly, that William the Conqueror carried out probably the first very detailed census of people and things in all the conquered part of England. And what is interesting is that there are records for this, and what the historians tell us that these records indicate that every village, he took account of every village, how many cows they had, sheep they had, etc., horses, goats, whatever. And of course, also people. And so what is interesting is that it turns out that all of these independent different villages were typically home to about 120 to 140 people. There's another very interesting phenomena, and this is about wars. So we have a recorded history of about 3,000 years, and in this recorded history, which is from across different geographies, different cultures, there is one thing which is consistent, which is the size of the smallest unit of the armies.
The company.
That's what the British military system calls it even today. So the company comprises of maybe about 126 to 140 odd people. The number has grown in the last, 4 or 5 decades because now you need some specialists to accompany each company. The company typically comprises about 130 to 140 fighting men who are led by amongst themselves, the junior commissioned officers, and then maybe one or three what are called commissioned officers in the British army system. Now, the interesting thing is that this name company comes from the army, and that it came into business from the army. So when you got a charter, you were allowed to raise a company.
Mm.
And so, interestingly, that name persists. But what doesn't persist is this understanding that the cogent unit that can work very well together is about 150. A couple of companies have done very well based on this understanding. They never allow any of their companies to grow beyond 150. The moment they become more than 150, it is spun off into a different company. And Semco is a prime example. There's another company called Gore-Tex. It's a research and development company, a very interesting company, privately held. I encourage people to find out about it as well. It is claimed that of the 11 pieces of things that you wear on your person at any point of time, at least one of them has been manufactured or has been patented by Gore-Tex. So it touches you without you're really knowing about this company. So it's a very interesting and very profitable, very successful business organization. Of course, quite under the radar. Coming back, so from what does it mean from a business perspective? What does it mean from a business organization? And I'll take 2 minutes. This is quick, and I'll hand this back to you. It's a very simple perspective. One of the things that I think that this is a remark that is attributed to another very well-known anthropologist, a celebrated anthropologist, Margaret Mead, who is supposed to have said that the one test of human civilization is if you find any human remains, and in that you discover that any of the people buried there had a broken femur that was repaired, that is healed. And the point that was being made is that the femur is a bone which, if it is broken, you can't move. You are helpless. If others around you don't help you and they don't feed you, they don't look after you, at least for the next 3 months, if not more, you're going to be dead. You're not going to survive. And so if you find bones that indicate that somebody had this fracture and it healed, it means that the people around them took care of them and helped them heal, help them recover instead of succumbing to the physical condition or the kind of situation that they were in. So human societies are programmed to be able to work with each other, to collaborate with each other. Now, I will just make one remark and help you understand that there are a lot of things that we do very, very, very problematically without understanding. For example, in all the hunter-gatherer societies, obviously there will be one person who will be a better hunter. They will have more success. They will be able to aim better. They're more powerfully built, and so their spear is more effective, etc. More skillful, etc. So when they're successful in a hunt and the meat eating is, and I know that may not kind of go down very well with some of the Bhardwaj, but meat eating is supposed to have given us the kind of enriched energy protein source that helped us kind of support such big brains in the first place. So anthropological hypothesis is that evolutionary anthropology says that first we were scavengers and then we started actively hunting. That's why the name hunter-gatherers. But here the point is that one is that you need to be able to have a lot of collaboration to be able to hunt. Hunting alone is very difficult. The second is that when this animal is brought back to the village or the living space uh, for this hunter-gatherer society, it is apportioned. Of course, the person who's done the hunt gets some choice pieces, true. But the hunter, it is kind of researched that, and that's true even in current hunter-gatherer societies, the hunter is made fun of. They're told that you got lucky, that you didn't deserve to get so lucky, but the capability of this expert is downplayed. They're made fun of. They are kind of told that, look, don't grow a big head. You just got lucky and that's about it. What do we do to people who get us great results in our companies? We do the
Tell
exact
them you got
reverse.
lucky. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that you should tell them that you got lucky, but when you kind of uh, boost their egos, and so there is a last piece that I want to add now. And this is the difference between human societies and the other great apes and other social animals as well. So all animals have an alpha. And the typical measure of alpha is how powerfully built that male or female is. So you'll have a male alpha, you'll have a female alpha as well. So they are the ones who are the big bullies. They are the mean, big bullies. They get access to food first. They get the choicest things. They will unleash violence on the most hapless, helpless uh, individuals who are not able to defend themselves. And they walk with a swagger. It's like, I know that I'm the boss here. And, how dare you stare at me? How dare you stand in my way? And so they're very unpredictable in terms of unleashing violence. And the entire life of the social animals revolves around being able to become alpha. In the chimpanzees, the politicking is how do we kind of dethrone the current alpha? And so a lot of males get together and who themselves cannot become individually an alpha, but they will conspire together and build a coalition and then defeat the existing alpha. So by the way, chimpanzees are better at politics than us. They can calculate the probabilities much more clearly and rationally than we do. But coming back to this, in human societies, you have a sigma male or a sigma female. Who are the sigmas? The sigmas are very capable people. They have skills. They built this capability through experience, through learning. And they're very generous with their time. They're very generous with sharing what they know. So others are attracted to work with this alpha, to learn from this alpha, to apprentice under this alpha. Sorry, I'm saying alpha under the sigma, because this is the sigma who's welcoming others. They're not as mean spirited or they're not bullies like the alphas are. Human societies also have alphas. We're seeing a lot of them in elected positions right now, is the max that I will say. But the sigmas are the ones who build capability, who help others become better. They share their expertise, they share their rewards, or whatever they're able to get, because their capabilities, they have no problem in sharing it with others. And it is because of these sigmas that human civilization actually becomes better generation over generation. The same thing goes for example, a sigma female. She'll be the one who will be the best cook or the best in this hunter-gatherer society, or somebody who can do the create cloth or whatever else, pottery, whatever are the skills, whether male or female doesn't matter, but these are the characteristics. And so when you think deeply about it, it's these sigmas that one should nurture within the organization and not the alphas. Um, the alphas typically will create problems for you. Having said this, that's why I said, you don't really need to do anything. Not true. You do need to do certain things. But the background is this, that people come pre-programmed to come together brilliantly and deliver outstanding results. One of the, there's this article that I had read a long time back. I forget who, probably it was the head of HR of Yahoo who had written this, getting extraordinary results from ordinary people. Now, it's a kind of a conundrum, that it's a kind of a, the title, but that's a fact. It doesn't matter who is there. You will be able to get extraordinary results provided you're able to get the group processes right. You're able to create the space right. In the last two podcasts, we talked about how do you get the space right. This is about understanding of how our hardwares are and what are the limitations, how our softwares work, and what can human resource professionals, especially HR business partners, do to be able to bring it all alive. And so I'm happy to talk about all the other things that they need to do. Back to you. Thank you for the time for this longish answer.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm so happy I've been married for 12 years because I'm so tuned to listening to long monologues. So that kind of came in handy. Right. So, yes, I mean, that surely sets up the context. So, I know a lot of people who are listening to this video are going to be thinking about breaking an organization the minute it touches 150 is not practical for everybody. So, can you throw some light on how can organizations incorporate this understanding about human psyche while not having to break the organization into multiple pieces?
Hmm.
How could they go about that?
Hmm. So let me start responding to this with something which Ricardo Semler said, that it's never the right size, it's never the right time, it's never the right economy, it's never the right situation. Uh, well, we can either work with the grain or we work against the grain. Um, Having said this, what are some of the practical things that one can do? Yes, for sure, everybody needs to figure out their own situation, context, and what makes sense for them to do. What makes sense for a Semco to do after they've built an organization over a period of years and they created a kind of an environment in which literally they can do impossible things. It's going to take you a while before you're able to do that. So the first part of it is build all of these 7 things within your organization: fair play, meritocracy, transparency, speed, flexibility, inclusivity or inclusion, and diversity, and last but not the least, integrity. Do what you say you will, and keep your word. Show some alignment between what you say and what you do. Well, not some, complete alignment. That's what integrity is. So having done that, some of the things that help us come together as a team, as a group, the one of the things that one can talk about is leadership. What is the kind of psychological space that you're creating? Are you looking at how are you look? Again, comes back to how you're looking at people and what are you doing to help every single one of them bring their best to the table. And again, here, it's not on so team leaders who are able to see what are the strengths and capabilities that each team member is bringing to the table and can imagine, how do I put this all together? And what do I need to do for all of them to come together? Is what helps create outstanding performance as a team. Now, there is a very simple way of saying this, and I like saying this in the training sessions that we do, which is that the simplest way to build outstanding performance in a team is by building superstars. Now you'll say, okay, I mean, how is that simple? So I say, you know, I show the picture of uh, a gentleman who's supposed to be a Chirayu, who lives forever. And in Indian mythology, he's supposed to have fought with Krishna for the uh, Shamantak money. He's supposed to have, participated in Ramayana as Ram's general. No other than Vibhishan. No other than Jambu,
Jumbo.
the beer man. So Jambavan, what does he do when the Ram's army, all the monkeys, Hanuman, Sugriv, the entire Vanar Sena, is reaches the shores of the sea, and now they don't know what to do, is when he approaches Hanuman and he tells Hanuman, "You've forgotten who you truly are. So sit in meditation and remember who you truly are," which is when Hanuman sits down and then he remembers what he has forgotten. He had these superpowers as a child and he created a lot of trouble. So the rishis had given him a shrap that, they'd taken away those powers. And then, and because the intervention of others, they kind of partially withdrew it, saying that you'll still have them, but you will forget them. You will remember these powers only when you truly need them. So great leaders are able to help their team members understand and bring to bear what they're capable of. So the best leaders are able to bring out capabilities that the individuals themselves never thought that they would ever be able to do. It's only in hindsight that they realize that this was always there, but they could never see it. They were blind to it. Somebody else kind of tapped them and said, "Hey, why don't you try this? I think you'll do well." So there's this ability to be facilitated. There's this ability to be able to hold the mirror to people. There's this ability to be able to help them kind of align and bring to life a very focused effort and application. And you've created a safe space where people can make mistakes and learn and then try again. And so that's the essential human capability. In fact, if you ask me, that there is this concept in mythology. James Campbell, I think, was the first person to talk about it. He talked about the hero's journey. And the way that I like explaining it is that if you're watching a movie, do you need to be told who's the person who's the hero and who's the person who's the villain? Yeah, I think there have been some movies where it's a little difficult, but you can quickly nobody needs to tell you who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, right?
Right.
Why? That's because Carl Jung says we have these templates inside our mind, these what he calls archetypes. And one of the strongest archetypes that all of us have within us is the archetype of the hero. That there's a good person who falls into trouble, who's going through bad times, tough times, and then the person, through their effort, through their will, through their application, through the relationships that they built, through their kindness, through their whatever, being a sigma male maybe, they are or female, they're able to overcome those challenges?
Mm.
My own understanding is a little different. I think it is the challenges that awaken us to the possibility within us. All the strengths that any of us have today have come out because we were challenged at some point of time in our lives. And we needed to kind of apply ourselves and then discover and refine and build these strengths that we possess today. Without those uh, challenges, we wouldn't have built these strengths. So now coming back to the context of the organization, so a good manager will not only kind of understand all of this about each of their team members, but will also be able to kind of curate a very customized learning and development journey on the job for each of the team members. If a challenge comes, the leader will know beforehand who this challenge will go to and why. And so there is a, yeah, it's like challenges are opportunities, problems are opportunities. And so you're constantly looking at, okay, what else can I get in to tackle, and how do I help using these what I see as external challenges? How do I use these to build capability and to excel and to kind of win and to enjoy? So I think it's almost like you have to become a Zen master. Whatever gets thrown at you, you use that energy and you turn it around and you make it work for you. So yeah, that's so I'm saying the role of this sigma person individual. Now, whether the person is a formally a manager, a team leader, or a senior person, or even a junior person within the group, doesn't matter. And there's a lot of research on situational leadership, which proves that all of us can step in different contexts as leaders, the same group. So I think it takes if the group has come together well, then they're able to themselves figure out what is the best way to go about this. The last piece that I want to add into that, in terms of what practicing managers can do, what leaders can do, is how they look at and how do they approach conflict.
Mm.
So I think this guy who's written this book, Five Dysfunctions of a Team, I think there's a very nice video of his where he explains that there's a conflict continuum. On the one end is artificial harmony, on the other end is very mean-spirited conflict. It says this feels like hell. And this, everybody is nice, but there's no relationship or engagement. He says the reason people don't want to move from here to there is because any movement that they make towards bad conflict is feels like one step closer to hell, and so people avoid that. Whereas he says that you need to move and move and move till you come to the edge where instead of constructive conflict you get into destructive conflict. And he says good teams know the moment they step into destructive conflict, they have the ability to come back on the edge of constructive conflict, saying without constructive conflict, teams can't be great performers. So, as an organization, as team leaders, one needs to empower people, help people table their conflicts with each other, for working with each other, and deal with them in very practical and constructive ways. There are, of course, a lot of tools that are available today. You have the Thomas Kilmann inventory for for understanding our conflict resolution modes or preferred conflict resolution modes. And when we see that we are weak in one and not so good, and too strong in another one, we can moderate. We can see what the situation requires and moderate our style. There is the good old FIRO-B, Fundamental Interpersonal Relational Orientation of Behavior. Uh, uh, Charles Schutz was it Charles Schutz? It's Dr. Schutz. And that's one of the most powerful ways by which people can figure out how do they work well with each other. Their needs for affection, inclusion, and control, um, are they being met by the others? And are they meeting others' needs for inclusion, affection, and control? And so that's a chapter in itself. But fundamentally, these are some of the practical things that can be done. One of the most successful approaches that I've had is whenever there was a new team that needed to come together and start working with each other to build a business. Um, uh, One of the things that I always did was to take them out, do a FIROP, do some experiential learning, which you're very good at, and and play these outbound learning games, etc., and which recreates all the tensions and conflicts that actually happen with each of these personalities in the workplace. Share their FIROBs, help them sit with each other one by one, and work out a plan so that they can kind of satisfy their needs for inclusion, affection, control, and also fulfill other colleagues' needs for inclusion, affection, control, whether at the peer level or at the senior junior level or at the subordinate level. So um, this I found put together a very strong basis for these people to be able to work really well with each other over an extended period of time. And they also knew if they had issues, how could they sit and have a dialogue and sort it out without getting into a very personal kind of a conflict. They had the language and they had the uh, ability to rationally figure out solutions that would work for both parties. You may still not like the other person, the other colleague, but that didn't prevent you from being able to work really well with them. So, longish answer again, but I think that's at the heart of building outstanding team performance. You do a lot before hand. There is not much then that you need to do subsequently. Yeah, as a leader of that team, you do need to be constantly engaged. So when I say you don't need to do anything later, it's only in a figurative sense. It's that when you have got this, you've got the foundation right, then typically not much goes seriously wrong. And so there will be hiccups, there will be road bumps, but the team itself is able to figure those out. Back to you.
Yes, thank you so much. So to just summarize the points that we covered today. The first thing is to understand that there is a limit beyond which it becomes difficult to account for a person.
Hmm.
So it's in many organizations. I've also noticed that there are subcultures. Every team, in a way, has its own subculture. The same floor of 300 people, there could be two teams, and the two teams could have very different cultures depending on what does the leader create. So being aware of what each person does, being aware of their aspirations goes a long way in helping build a team that understands each other. The second, it's important to hold the mirror back many a times to help people realize how good they are or what are they capable of. Then we also spoke about the importance of being able to leverage conflict, um, or try and see that the conflict is in the zone where it is productive,
Yep.
and it does not go to a stage where it starts to undermine or hurt the team in totality. But obviously the good hell is the fake harmony, and the bad hell is where people go for each other's neck. And heaven is somewhere in between, right? It's not the continuum that we're talking about. And apart from that, and towards the end, you also spoke about the importance of understanding the style that each person brings to the table. Um, People stay connected to the team when they feel that their basic needs are fulfilled. They are included, they are cared for, and What are the three things you had mentioned? Mm, inclusivity.
uh,
Uh,
and integrity was like flexibility and
no, no. In terms of
replay,
the Pyro B, in Pyro B,
affection, inclusion, and control.
affection, inclusion, and control. Right. So they experience affection amongst team members. There is inclusivity, and everybody feels that they are in control of something in some way. So it becomes a part of their identity. So a lot of things, but I think people will maybe revisit some portions
Mm.
to chop the whole idea out. Because if somebody says it's easy to build a high performing team, they are lying. But if somebody says it's impossible to build a high performing team, they're lying as well. So there are ways, surely lots to be done, because at the end of the day, the success of every company lies in the hands of people who are there in the company. So how we help them feel connected to the larger cause becomes all the more. So thank you so much once again, Steve. Lovely listening to you. And with that, I would call it curtains for this session because we want to keep it between the 40-50 minute mark. But I think this in itself becomes a very interesting segment. So for the next episode of Humans of HR, I don't want to announce anything because a lot of it is going to depend on what are we thinking of on that day. So nevertheless, it's going to be interesting. It's surely going to add a lot of value to Humans of HR. Please do like, share, and subscribe as much as possible so that we reach a lot more in the community. Yeah, back to you.
Only one caution which I always put across whenever I do this Fyro
Go for it.
which is Fyro is designed for the workplace.
It's only designed for the workplace.
Don't try it at home. Whatever you get to learn from home is good. You bring to the workplace.
Right. Thank you so much. You stopped somebody going back home and demanding uh, inclusivity, care, and and what's the third one? I always forget it. What's that?
Include
Um,
affection control.
affection, inclusivity, and control. Sorry. But on the lighter note, that was. But yes, once again, thank you so much. Lovely talking to you.
Like,
Looking forward to another very interesting conversation sometime. Thank you.
fantastic. Thank you. Bye bye.